navigating life's hustle. Today, we're diving deep into the game of balancing work, entrepreneurship, and keeping those tight connections alive. It's all about being true to yourself. And you know you gotta address the elephant in the room, social media. From double taps to DM slides, we'll break down how it's changing the game of relationships. Join me Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on Fire 716 Radio. Welcome to Unplugged, the podcast where we keep it real about relationships, friendships, and navigating life's hustle. Today, we're diving deep into the game of balancing work, entrepreneurship, and keeping those tight connections alive. It's all about being true to yourself. And you know you gotta address the elephant in the room, social media. From double taps to DM slides, we'll break down how it's changing the game of relationships. Join me Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on Fire 716 Radio. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Unplugged. So today I have Iman and Kane, and they are a part of the Buffalo Fashion Show Runway Crew, which I am very excited about. So if you watched the very first episode, Chad was on that episode. He is a part of this group, and then Iman was on the second guest. So both episodes, they kind of gave us little hints about the show. So we're watching the buildup of it. So I'm really excited for that. And how long have you guys been planning this?
3 months.
3 months?
Yeah, 3 months.
So it's been quite interesting. It's going to be a great event. I'm super excited for it. So welcome, guys. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
No problem.
Thank you.
My first question would be, how did this collective form?
All right. So first, as I traveled back to when I talked about the last podcast we had, I was at my internship at Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, and I met Chad and connected with Chad, and he talked about he wanted a marketing director for this runway idea he got going on with Dan Apatoy. Dan can't come here because he got a child right now, so it's been a lot busy for him. But yeah, so I met Chad, and then Chad connected me to Dan through Zoom. So like for the first month of June, like June 20th to like July, it was just us. And then Chad introduced us to Pete the God, and Pete the God is a fashion designer, and he's in New York City right now doing a lot of fashion stuff, and he has a whole catalog. He's had a bunch of fashion shows himself, and so he's a good consultant and a good person to work with to produce his fashion show. And then Chad and Pete introduced the whole team to Rodney Chapman. He's coming later, and Rodney he's a good visionary, and he always pushes things to the next level. You got ideas, but when you need to execute on ideas, Rodney's who you call. And then after that, we got introduced to Kane because, you tell the story about that. Go ahead.
Chad and I met. It's actually kind of a funny story. The first time I ever met him, we were sparring each other at our martial arts gym day before a competition. And normally you don't really ask anyone other than their name before you start sparring. And before I knew it, Chad had both my legs wrapped in his arms, and I was 3 feet off the ground, slammed on the ground, wind completely knocked out of my stomach. And as soon as that had happened, he looks at me, "Oh, sorry, man." Helps me up, like realizes, had gotten a little, maybe not too excited, but we were both into it. And so developed a friendship through martial arts, and then followed each other on social media, and he saw that I was into fashion. So I run a fully vertically integrated design studio out of my apartment, where I do screen printing and cut to sew tailoring, 3D printing, 3D design. And I'm posting this stuff on social media, and Chad saw that, and then I pulled him. I had him come through for a soft launch for my brand, and he was able to see the extent of my process and what I'm able to bring to the table. And that's when he introduced me to Iman. I think we talked like the next day.
Yeah, for like an hour and a half, bro, just chopping it up.
Ideas.
Yeah.
I think one of the really special parts of this team is exactly that we get together and we talk about ideas. We're not talking about, like you said, we're not talking about people. We're not talking about events. We're talking about what we want to do and where we want to be.
Making it happen.
So you guys are like, it's a day-to-day thing. It's not like most people meet every week or every other week or something. It's a day-to-day thing with you guys.
Yeah, so it started like we would meet like every week, like on Zoom, and then it translated into like we started going to events together, and then we started meeting up at like other shows and stuff like that, and just seeing each other out on like when we doing vending and stuff like that. And then we made it a group chat, and in the group chat, as it started winding down to like the last 2 months, like we started texting like every day, like for 5 hours straight, just making things down to the last detail perfect. And then we go out to parties and events together and festivals. Like I don't know, it's like getting to a brotherhood almost.
Seeing you guys just went to, what event was that you went to on Sunday?
It's Buffalo. Oh, Sunday? Yeah, you got that.
Is that Music's Art?
Yeah.
That's got to be Buffalo's premier festival. I think they've been doing it this year. Was their 22nd year officially.
That's big.
They used to host it at Delaware Park, and they moved it down to Riverworks, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and they had 250 different artists. I think it was like over 20 stages. They had visual artists, they had musical artists, they had vendors, they have just about anybody.
Yeah,
so
that's insane.
We made sure to show up and let people know what we're doing next weekend.
That's cool.
Right.
So when you guys go to these events, do you kind of like pick from the events, like, okay, I want this at my event, I don't want my event to go like this? Is that kind of how you guys operate?
It's
not
funny.
saying you're stealing their ideas or anything.
Oh, well, I saw that. It's more like I kind of felt bad because I had people coming up to me asking for a flyer, and I just told them to scan the QR code, because I saved the flyers for the artists or the people that were performing, or someone that I saw that it's, I don't want to say influence as in like an influencer, but it's what groups of people are setting the tone in Buffalo. And I think going to the events and finding either the artists, the vendors, the sponsors, or just the people that are doing that. I think that's what we're looking for.
Right. And when we go to certain events and like festivals like that, it's more about connections, like talking to people who have certain visions and seeing how both of our visions can come together and combine to make a greater vision, So it's also looking at like, all right, maybe we could use that, or maybe we not do that, and look at the feedback that we have and other people have on the festival or event, and take that into account. But mostly it's about like the connection piece and filling in and getting those people's names and getting our names out there in their mind, and like, oh, you think of Kane, you think about Fashion Runway. You think of Iman, you think about Fashion Runway. When you see our faces, you think about Fashion Runway, but Fashion Runway in the house. You know what I'm saying? So it's mostly about connection for us, I would say.
I think you guys have really like created like such a huge impact in the how short amount of time that you've been doing it. Like your Instagram and stuff is, I love watching the stories. It's so cool. I was kind of upset that I didn't win that giveaway, but I'll let it slide.
I random wheeled I random wheeled it like 5 times. I promise you. I
will let it slide. It's okay.
I think it's really interesting that you said that, because from my experience talking to people at these events, we're just bringing something to the surface that's been there. Like I think people have been ready for something like this in Buffalo, giving a voice to the emerging artists and to the actual roots of Buffalo culture, and not just, putting certain people on a pedestal, but bringing everyone up with us, and the conversations that we have, it sounds like just about everybody else is thinking or trying to do a similar thing. And that's what I think, not meant by the vision point, but when you start talking about ideas and ambition and what you want to do creatively, you realize every artist kind of has the same desire. They want to keep it here in Buffalo, and they want to grow with the community.
Thanks.
So how many artists and how many models and stuff you guys have set up for the show?
Yeah, so right now we have 5 artists. We have Ito Lanston, we have Baskey, we have Aaron, who's a poet, we have Jillian Hainsworth, who's a poet, and we have Chorus, who's a singer. And then for the designers, we have New Sons, Due Process. We have Austin Guyett, his brand is Buy a Guy. We have Barris, who's Good Neighbor Club. We have Matt, who's like Out Here Being Me. We have Marlena, who's Faith Up for Fear. We have, who am I missing? Oh, Frank Williams, Dare to Be Different. And I believe that's it. Yeah, that's everybody.
Was it hard getting all of those artists?
Nah. I feel like it flowed.
Yeah.
I feel like it definitely flowed. Like Chad, on the artist side, Chad was mostly getting the artists. Like Chad sent me everybody's page, and I just reached out, and that was Chad's part. But the designers, like I knew who was prominent in Buffalo, and I knew who the brands were that people was wearing, and most of them I was friends with. So I was like, yo, we're doing a show right now, like it's an idea right now, but if we get it flowing, like, you on board? It's like, yeah, when people see a positive thing happen and a positive vision, of course they want to get on top of that and get that opportunity. But yeah, I don't think it was really hard, because again, like once you're a good person, like good people follow you, and you follow other good people. So it just flows.
Great. What was the sponsorship process like? Because you guys have some you have great sponsors like Wester, Rich Products.
Yeah.
I don't remember the other ones. I just remember seeing Rich Products.
Yeah, so we have Buffalo AKG Art Museum, we have Birchfield Penny Art Center, we have Sheba Gallery, we have Buffalo Health Equity, we have Community Health Center for Buffalo, we have Wester, we have Oxford Pennant, we have Tech Buffalo, we have Honest, Reliable, Safe Cleaning, and many more.
Yeah,
it's a lot. But the process was like for the last 3 months, it was more of a like, reaching out to everyone we could, and if it stuck, it stuck. You know what I'm saying? Like if it stuck, it stuck, and we had like a certain page that had the tiers and like what you would get with the tiers and stuff like that. And we wanted the swag bag, so we wanted to collectively put the sponsors in the faces of the audience that we have. And yeah, but again, I just think it just flowed. Like we just reached out to people, and people knew that we were good people from who they know about me and what they know about Chad and Kane and other people in that team. And so it was like, yeah, we want to help you out. Like it was very. It felt good when people was like, oh yeah, I want to hop on board with y'all. I'll give y'all $1,000. I'll give y'all $500. It felt good.
It's like that point that I made that we're just kind of the ones bringing it to the surface.
Yeah.
The sponsors want in on this. They want to support the community in Buffalo. They want to see emerging artists be supported and have no out-of-pocket cost to showcase their work.
Peace, beloved.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, this is Rodney. This is the creative visionary, the person who take everything to the next level.
What's up, Good, how are you?
Fantastic. Thanks for having us.
No problem. No problem.
But yeah, so the process of the sponsors was like, it was just, when we go to the events, like we would talk to people and build those connections. And it was like, yo, we're doing something right now. And we got this on board. We got this person on board. We got this organization on board. So you might as well be a part of it and help it go into a greater vision and build what we can build for Buffalo, because it's only the first year and we got some good sponsors. We got some good people coming to the show. And it's like, it's hard to like stay focused on, finish what we got going on right now and to not think about what we could be in the future. Like that's the whole thing right now. Like it's the last week before the show and we still thinking about, 5 years from now, like the moon. It's up. Yeah.
So King, before we started recording, you were telling me how you quit your job to do this. So can you give us some intel on that?
Yeah. So I went to school originally for civil engineering, and then have you ever seen the movie Interstellar?
No, I have not.
If you got 3 hours
Great movie.
to just sit there,
That's a great movie.
I recommend it.
Okay.
Mind-opening movie.
I watched it and it opened my mind because the next day I was like, I'm switching aerospace engineering. I'm going to die on another planet. And so studied aerospace engineering for 4 years, had some great internship opportunities, Calspan Flight Research, and then the company that I just left, which is a high-speed aerodynamics test facility. Really enjoyed the process of engineering and just learning how to solve problems, creating an analytical tool belt that allowed me to approach an obstacle and break it down and get over it. Essentially, that's more or less what I was learning at that time. Graduated, went on full-time at this research lab, which is like the closest thing to the International Space Station you can get on the Earth. It's high intensity, high energy, a lot of funding, a lot of very important pieces moving through it. So it's an intense work environment. And as I started there, I started realizing that I wasn't necessarily fully passionate about engineering. I was meeting these people that when they went home, they were reading textbooks on what we were working on, like there was no end to their day. And I appreciated that because they're brilliant individuals. You can't really knock someone if their passion overlaps with their work. Obviously, that's the ideal situation. But it left me with a little bit of feeling that I wasn't supposed to be there, that there was something I wanted to pursue outside of engineering. For my entire life, I'd always been into the way I dressed and clothing. And being a taller, lankier guy, nothing ever fit right. And so eventually I just started teaching myself to make my clothes and tailor them. And so at some point along the line, I bought a couple 3D printers. I bought a sewing machine, and I bought what's called a Cricut, and it allows you to make screens for screen printing. And just started playing around with that. And I started looking at fashion as an obstacle that my engineering could help me solve. And so I would have a problem or a design idea, and then I would just use those engineering principles to break it down and accomplish what I wanted to with that piece, whether it be a graphic or a pair of pants or, a jacket with wings on it or whatever. And so that process started about 2.5 years ago. And I've just been doing both full time. I would leave my job at 4 and second shift would start. I'd be up until 12 o'clock working on whatever I was working on, putting together what I was putting on. And then I met these guys and it set me on fire. And so there's really no looking back. I think I spent, or there's this line that I like to reference often, and it's luck is when opportunity meets preparation. And I see myself as lucky, obviously, to have met these guys and to be given this opportunity that I have. But I can't discredit those 3 years that I was working in a cave, more or less, with no sort of recognition and feeling, when you tell someone you're a rocket scientist and you're leaving to go do fashion, they kind of look at you like you're insane, and you can imagine how my mom responded when I told her that, she did everything for my brothers and I to make it. And so going and getting my degree, she was like, okay, he's set, let him go. And now I'm kind of throwing the wrench into the wheel a little bit. But the same thing that got me into engineering is the same thing that got me right here. And so ultimately I just got to trust it, and move forward and do the best that I can and make sure that this Saturday is a night to remember. It's as simple as that.
It definitely takes a lot of courage, and I really do like that shirt, like the graphics on it.
Yeah, I mean, as a preface, as you walk into Kane's apartment, you're going to see clothes racks on the left full of like 150 clothes, and you go deeper into his crib near his bed, clothes racks, and then he got 3D printers right here, man. And it's like mad, just intricate sculptures. It just creativity, and it's like a whole energy that you engulf yourself in when you walk into his apartment, and the way he's speaking, it shows for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like fashion is a science too, so you can't feel like, I don't know if you ever kind of feel like a way about you like quitting your job or anything, but in my eyes, that's a science too, because you gotta know what you're doing to put some clothes together to like that. So you're doing great, and like I said, I'm so excited for this event.
Just to touch on that, I 100% agree. I'm a personally trained designer, and so I can't help but pull from math. And if you were to measure my height, the ratio of my pants to this shirt, it would give you what's called the golden ratio in mathematics. So like I use those things that I learned in science to help me design better, because the only objective thing we know or we understand is science and math to a degree. And so if I can use those things that we know to be real to help me design, from what I experience, it creates interesting pieces. People, without knowing why, tend to gravitate towards them. I've noticed.
So, Rodney, you are the visionary behind this. Can you tell me what that is like?
Strong title. Thank you for that. Visionary with these guys is like being aligned with other visionaries. I feel that fashion is science and math, right? It's the way we construct our livelihood, whether it being with clothes or the way that we maneuver through our career. That's why our phrase is beyond the thread, right? Because fashion means so much more than just clothes. It's mannerism, it's your style, it's the way that you do things personally. But visualizing, like I always tell big AZ fan, visualizing the realism of life and actuality, right? So if I can visualize myself being and dressing a certain way if I'm going to Tops, getting gas in a boardroom, right? And I just construct it in my vision. You know what I'm saying? It's like bringing your dreams to life. to making everything in your dreams and what you foresee become reality. Not letting that stop you to get that to reach that certain goal.
When did you get into fashion?
When I came out the game.
Nah, for real.
I have a family, very, very stylish family, people will call them. My mom, my dad, my sister, niece, nephew. It's like almost a trophy once you start to get your own style in my family. Like, oh, yeah, you got it now. You ain't cracked on if you don't got it. You know what I'm saying? But my mom, like I said, niece, nephew, sister, father, aunts, uncles, and hip hop. Hip hop is my religion. So taking from the likes of Kanye West, Jim Jones, Fabulous, watching them growing up on TV and really idolizing them folks, that constructed my whole style to where I am right now.
Who's your favorite rapper?
I have a couple of my top favorite rappers Nas. And I would say Wale, and Jim Jones, AZ, Jay-Z. No particular order.
Okay.
Nas is the one.
Yeah, I had an obsession with Nas when I was growing up. I used to call him my godfather.
That's crazy.
Really?
Word.
Oh wow, I'm not that. I'm never getting tattooed.
I want to go back to hip hop. I want to tribute my leg to hip hop. So Nas, Rockefeller, Rough Riders, No Limit on all those records, record label, and who's to be on my leg.
That is
a contribution.
That's fine.
Yeah, I like that, but I'm never getting tattooed. One question I wanted to ask you was, who is the best dressed out of all of you guys?
Man, it's different styles around the room. Like
all of us are.
It's different styles.
Fashion, so what I deem to be that the vibe may not be the vibe to them, and vice versa.
I was gonna say Iman, honestly. Yeah, that was my knee-jerk reaction.
It's so simple, but yet so stylish as well.
Yeah,
right. So you can have on a t-shirt, you can have on some slacks, just the way you put that shit.
Yeah. That's what he's saying. Fashion beyond the threads. Like, it's about who you are and with your personality and your impression, and you style that with a certain clothing and certain fashion style that you have. Like, it's different. It's different. But when I walk out and I see them, like, I'll be like, yo, that's fire. Be like, yo, that's fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the different styles. And I know who they are. So it's like, yeah, like, you put that on. You know what I'm saying?
Is it easy, like, having so many different, I don't know, personalities behind an event? How does that work?
I say it's like the flavor sections on the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the tongue is a unit, but it got different sections that taste different things. Like we all as a super brain, a mega mind. You know what I'm saying? With different aspects and different sections that we tackle and different things and different traits and skills that we have to manifest that Batman's tool belt of the Buffalo Fashion Runway. You know what I'm saying?
And it gives us all an opportunity to work on those facets of ourselves that the others exemplify. You know, like if I'm personally high on the creative aspect, but in terms of learning how to deal with sponsorships or hitting the ground running in terms of, you know, the logistics behind the operations of a show, I'm learning a lot. And so through Iman or through Rodney or through Chad or through Dan, you know, everyone around you's got something to learn from. And so when you assemble a team of people that are extraordinary in what they do, you can learn. You know, it's a trickle down kind of thing. And like you said, we're creating a tool belt. So honestly, you could come to the five of us with any problem you have, and we could make it happen.
Yeah,
so,
man. Yeah, man.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's like forming Voltron.
Yeah.
So many, like Iman said, so many brains and so many powers between all of us together. It's just like you can build anything. I don't care if it's a rocket.
I got you.
We will make it happen.
Yeah, man. It's deep. It's deep. Like it's very deep, man. It's very deep. And it's like the way we collaborate is I never seen it before. You know what I'm saying? Like the way we collaborate, I never heard of it before. I never seen it before. And it's like it's not even like we put our egos into it. Like when some person like has a different criticism or a construct that, you know, we tell somebody else, it's like, oh, I need to think about that. All right, I can maybe factor that in. You know, like when I'm making the videos for social media, like I send it to them before I post it. I'd be like, yo, what y'all think? Like real, like what y'all think, like honest truth. And they'd be like, yo, you should do that. I'm like, that it's done. You know what I'm saying? It's done because I know who they are and I know the minds that they have. So it's like they're not gonna tell me something that's wrong. They can't. So when I come to them with certain things, like it's a first person point of view, and when they had that third person point of view and looking at what I'm creating, it's like I take a step back, and it's like, all right, yeah, I'm with you.
What is something that you guys have really, really enjoyed about this whole process so far? And then what is something that you guys have not enjoyed about the process so far?
That's tough.
Honestly, though, I can't name nothing I don't enjoy about it.
No.
I don't care if it's reaching out to a certain business and they haven't responded. I
Yeah.
still enjoy it because it's the experience.
Mm-hmm.
A learning factor. Jay-Z said a loss is a lesson.
I got a bad experience though.
Oh, you?
The food truck.
That was a little disheartening, but
Yeah.
You still probably thinking about that, aren't
Man.
you?
Can we hear about the
So,
future?
all right. Before we get to the good experience, we'll get this. So we had a social mixer at Berkshire Penny. Shout out to Kelly and shout out to John. We had a mixer for the internal team, the models, the designers, and a few other sponsors that came. Shout out Claudia and Miggy. So it was basically just for us to meet them, for them to meet everybody who was involved. Like we had a lot of networking, like activities. They toured Birchfield Penny, and we seen our vision unfold. Like we was putting people in spaces they never been before. Like many people came out, I never even been to Birchfield before. I never even knew this was here, and we got an event after hours there just for them. You know what I'm saying? Like just for them to come in and talk to other people on the team. So the plan was to have a food truck to come like after all the activities and everything. And that's like the gold on the dessert, and it was. So I don't know if I should tell the name, but I'll tell the whole story. I'll tell the whole story. So I told the person to pull up at 6:00. The event started at 5. They was going to tour Berkshire Penny at like 6:30. So I pull up at 6 because I know it takes probably 30 minutes, 45 minutes to set up a food truck, And so I was waiting, it was touring Birchfield, and I was like, all right, maybe she pull up at 6:30. I was like, yo, ride at 6:35. Yo, Kane at 6:40. he said, wait till 7. I was like, yo, it's 7. They coming out Birchfield. I'm like, dang, we don't got no food truck for him. So I'm calling this person over and over. It was like, yeah, my employee about 20 minutes away. I was like, yo, like you couldn't figure this out beforehand, but it's cool. Blessings to you, peace to you, like. But it's a blessing and a curse though. Like she could have pulled up, and we could have had it for the actual event, and then the actual event we letting down 300 people. You know what I'm saying? So it's better to have that and have that experience and know who to work with, who not to work with, and blessing to them. I still hope like she had an event. She had one of the food trucks at Buffalo. So I'm praying for her success in her business and everything. And it didn't work out with us, but dang.
Yeah, a good lesson in just knowing that not everything's gonna go the right way, and to like roll with
we audible
what's in front of us. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we audible. Do what we have to do. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Salad. Shout out to Kelly.
No one's angry.
Yeah, no one's angry. Like they didn't even expect the food truck. Like the food truck, we were just gonna have it pull up and like again icing on the cake. Like that would have been the good ending. But I feel like we had the good ending. We had the good beginning.
For sure.
So yeah.
Last question. So what do you guys see in the future for the show?
I see the moon.
Yeah, anything.
That's what I see.
I just think, first and foremost, showcasing emerging artists in Buffalo, in whatever capacity that may be. Whether we have our flagship show every year, September, but then maybe satellite shows after that or around that, right? If a brand wanted to put on some sort of a production, maybe this team isn't just a fashion show team. It's just an operations team that can put on an event to give a voice and an open door to an artist that's up and coming in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Because like you said, getting those sponsors, once you open those doors, once these guys really made those connections, it seemed like they all just kept coming, and it's a snowball effect, And once you get one big company to sign on, then other ones are more likely, and now you have all of these assets and these resources that you couldn't hope to achieve as one person. You know what I mean? And so I think, just having
that's the vision. Just using our resources to be able to give resource to other people. Like as I said, like we put artists and designers in those places they never even been. And at the show, they're gonna meet people they never would have met. That's gonna take them to a higher level, And that's the vision, And I keep telling the team and like, cause it's the last week, we stressing a lot, but it's like, yo, like regardless of what happened, like we did our vision. Like our goal is gonna happen on September 16th. Like we got a place, we got a time. Like that's it. We brought people together. That was the whole vision, and to give people connections to boost their brain and their artist and creative ability. And yeah, just the moon. Like as he said, like I know we want to do a whole bunch of community events like throughout this show and then the next show. Like in between that, like we could be the people who put on events for people who need that platform to just get their name out there and stuff like that. But yeah.
I think it's something to stuff for BFR.
Yeah.
Our culture. Bringing artistry in one room, whether it's corporate, whether it's designers, models, poetry, music. This is going to be something that, in my eyes, should have been done a long time ago. Well, probably has, but just not in our life, right? The way that we do things is fashionably different. All coming to the fashionably different from what everybody else has going on. So I think it's just up from here.
Yeah, and I feel like our audience is different. Like Like the fashion shows I've been to, like the audience is that high quality, individuals who come there with the $250 tickets. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, like I feel like it's the high quality people, but who we got coming to our show is like the people, like Buffalo coming to our show. You know what I'm saying? Like we ain't got nobody flying in from Paris to come to Buffalo right now, but in the future, yeah. In the future, yeah. But like we putting on for Buffalo. You know what I'm saying? Like Buffalo's gonna be in that crowd, and you can't call it nothing else.
Well, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I'm proud of where this event has gone. I can't wait to see where it goes in the future. I really do appreciate all of you guys.
Yeah.
So that was another episode of Unplugged, and check me out next week at Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Welcome to Unplugged, the podcast where we keep it real about relationships, friendships, and navigating life's hustle. Today we're diving deep into the game of balancing work, entrepreneurship, and keeping those tight connections alive. It's all about being true to yourself. And you gotta address the elephant in the room, social media. From double taps to DM slides, we'll break down how it's changing the game of relationships. Join me Wednesdays at 6 p.m. on Fire 716 Radio.